been using circle hooks for pike fishing for just over 2 years now. So I thought I'd make a small series on fishing for pike with circle hooks. I find the benefits of using circle hooks is that 9 times out of 10 the pike will be hooked in the scissors, so you don't get the complications that you can sometimes get with treble hooks. They very rarely get caught in you or in your landing net, and better bait presentation because you've only got one single hook. So today I'm going to show you how I make up my traces. So you'll need a set of scissors to cut your shrink tubing, some crimping pliers, a set of side cutters and a lighter. And then component wise I'm using Mustard Demon Circle 3/0 hooks. You can crimp the barb down or grind it off with a Dremel if it's barbless water. Axia slim crimps. I find these as good as any other, but half the price. Calder shrink tube. That shrinks down very well. Then I've got the Drennan Essox £40 super trace, which is really supple. Keeps flexible and doesn't kink after, you can use it a good few times and it still doesn't kink. And then we've got Calder size 8 swivels. So I start by getting my £40 super trace. I've got a table that I've marked out 36 inches. I normally do my pike traces 2 foot or 24 inches, 600 millimeters. So I start with just a bit longer than that, just so that when I crimp the ends it works out to about 2 foot. Snip that with the side cutters. I always start with the swivel end first, because if you start from the swivel end and work back, then the last bit that you've put in on is the hook. If you start with the hook first, as you're doing the rest, the hook can get caught in stuff, so always start with the swivel end first. So I'll start by putting on a crimp on the trace, and then put my swivel on. And I push the crimp up the trace, leaving the swivel so there's a little loop there, and then crimp back down. If you've got a tag end from where the trace comes back, just take that tag end off. Then cut a small section of your shrink tube, thread that up the other end of the trace, up to where the crimp is. Just gently heat that till it shrinks down. You want to be careful not to heat it too much, because sometimes the trace wire, like this one, is plastic coated, so you don't want to be melting the plastic coating on the trace itself. Then take another small piece of shrink tube, put that on your trace, followed by your crimp, and then your circle hook. Bring the crimp back up, put the trace back through the crimp, and push the crimp up. Now you want to leave it so that the hook is swinging. It's quite important that that hook can swing around freely on that small loop. Then crimp back down, take off the tag end of the trace, Thread your shrink tubing up over the crimp, making sure that that hook can still swing freely, and then shrink the tube down. Simple as that. So that one's just over 2 foot long and as strong as you like. I've caught fish over 20 pounds on these traces. All of these components and the tools are available on our website. So that's how I make my traces. In the next episode, I'm going to show you how I hair rig either a popped up or a bottom fish bait on circle hooks for pike fishing. Hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching.